So for part 9, we'll go through our hunger mechanic. So we'll be making our player have hunger and using our craftable items to restore our hunger or health. Okay, so next thing is creating a hunger system. So with the hunger system, we would like to use items in order for us to restore hunger and restore health. Okay, so here we're going through our player health script first, and we need to go through the changes for the hunger mechanic. Okay, so here we have new variables for hunger. So you can see here we have max hunger, which represents the maximum hunger of the player. Then we have a float hunger variable, hunger decrease rate. So this is used as a amount that is decreasing from our max hunger. And starvation damage. So this is the damage that will decrease the player's health when their starvation or hunger reaches 0. And also we have a text here that represents our hunger. Okay, so our new method is decrease hunger. So basically what this does is just it decrements our max hunger that is put into hunger in our start method. And it checks once hunger reaches 0, then hunger reaches 0. So this is like for insurance only. So if hunger equates to 0, it will call the take damage method and gets the starvation damage value. And then soon after it will update the UI, which is our hunger text. Okay, next is our eat food method. So what it does is that it gets the food item. So this is its parameter. And then in that food item, it gets the property hunger restore amount and health restore amount. So the amount for hunger restore amount is added to hunger, and then here it's just to ensure that the amount of hunger won't go past our maximum hunger value, which is 100. So it goes the same with health. So what's the amount assigned in health restore amount will be added to health, and here it checks if it's already at the maximum capacity of health. And then it updates the UI. And then if we look in our update UI, so other than health, we also added an if statement for our hunger. And then in our die method, the difference here is just we added this hunger equals max hunger. So it restores the hunger upon death. That's all. Then moving on to our item script. So as I mentioned earlier, we have two new values for our item. So that is hunger restore amount and health restore amount. So basically you can assign what is the value for these in certain items. So you can just customize them or input the value that you wanted in your inspector. Okay, so next is the synthesizer. So due to the game logic that we created in this game, our crafted items or materials aren't really created as prefabs, but solely as items in a list. So their variables really isn't customizable in the inspector, unlike our drops, like our wood, meat, yarn. So what we can do is in our synthesize item method, we can assign a variable in the class of the crafted material. So if you remember, so this is the line where it adds the new item or the synthesized item in our inventory list and gives it an item name and item quantity. So what we can do is add an if statement. So if the item name is cooked meat, it will assign its hunger amount and health amount, hunger restore amount rather, and health restore amount. And we can assign how many amount will be restored when the player eats that item. So we have it here. So hunger is 20, health regained is 10. Okay, so let's go to our synthesizer. So sadly, by the way that we created our crafting system or synthesizer system, it doesn't really make the synthesized item into a prefab, but just a part of the inventory list. So in order for it to have properties like item name, item quantity, we did this. And since we have the hunger restore amount and health restore amount as our new properties in an item, what we did is we added an if statement. So if the item name is equals to cooked meat, so this synthesized item will have the hunger restore amount of 20 and synthesized item with the health restore amount of 10. So it's kind of a manual thing, and it will only happen within the script. And I know there are more sufficient ways of doing this, and we're trying to improve that. So yeah, so pretty much this is still a lesson for us. So yeah. So pretty much that's it for the changes with our synthesizer script. Okay, so next to this is our inventory UI script. So the only thing that we changed or added here was in the update inventory UI. So here we instantiate a button in our item UI. So what this does basically just makes our items interactable when we open the inventory, and when we click on it, it will call the use item method. So as you can see here. So what is the use item method? So this is our new method. So what this does is basically it calls the player.eatFood method from our player and inventory system.remove item from inventory. So this makes our craftable items, or the items that we synthesize, or the items that we clicked on, usable in a way that the player that was eating the item. So lastly, it updates the UI of the inventory whenever there's an item that is used. Else, so player not found, because we're gonna refer to the player here. So that's all for the inventory UI script. So Unity setup wise, there wasn't much changes except we added a text for hunger that is below health, and make sure that we assign the hunger text, to our player script. So ensure to assign it here in our hunger text. Okay, now let's start testing our hunger mechanic and also our food mechanic. So as you can see, hunger 100. Oh, okay, it decreased by 5 because I assigned 5 as the amount of hunger that's going to be decreased. So let's find food. So we press C. So here we have cooked meat. So this will be considered as our food. So 1 coal and 1 meat is required. Whoops. Okay. So let's find something to hunt down. Okay, let's say this pig. Actually, we can go with this bear because it has more drop value. Okay. So we have 3 meat. So what we lack now is coal. So let's hope this is coal. Oh no, it's rocks. Okay, so we have coal. So as you can see, our hunger level is at 40. So we wouldn't want to starve. So cook meat, synthesize. So we have 2 meat. And then if we click meat, it should increase to 45. There, it increased to 45, while our health remains to 100. Since it's capped at 100. So let's see if we reach 0. We should take starvation damage. Okay, just a bit more. Okay, 0. So, as you can see, it starts to take starvation damage and is decrementing by 5. So, we need to eat the other cooked meat in order to increase our health and hunger. So, as you can see, it increased by 20, the hunger, and then the health increased by 10 as we assigned in our script. So, that's how it works. And yeah, so pretty much when we die, it's gonna call our leucine, the same as how we were going to die when we take damage from enemies. So let's speed up the process a bit. Okay, so you died. So that's how our hunger and health mechanic work. So that's it for this tutorial. See you on the next one.